Hello and welcome to my world, inspired by the Minecraft Survival Guide. In honor of Pixlriff's 200th episode and his world tour, I thought I'd take you on a world tour to show you the kind of stuff that I did based on what Pixlriff inspired me to do. So without further ado, here we go. So I thought to start with, I'd show you the original world that I started with, the original seed. So this is where my spawn point was, and you can see I've got a little bit of a water feature here, a little bit of a river biome, some hills and whatnot, but it wasn't really the open grasslands that Pixlriffs had. But what it did have was a ton of sand waiting to be turned into glass. My first house was right about where those sheep are, and I built a tree fort, basically out of dirt and whatnot. Not a very good thing at all. It was actually probably a little bit over here, around this big tree here. Yeah, that's pretty much where it was. My kitchen was right about here. So I started playing Minecraft about April of this year, and shortly after I started playing Minecraft, that's when I discovered Pixlriff's videos, and you can see this house is directly inspired by the Pixlriff's design. It's a little bit different. I made some modifications myself. That's an access port for some redstone work that I did in here. And one of my favorite modifications I did early on was I decided I wanted to have a fireplace. So I built the fireplace, and the fire here is basically nether brick that's been lit on fire, so it just burns forever. Now the funny thing was, I didn't learn about fire tech until after a while with watching Pixlriffs. So I'd come back to this farmhouse, and every once in a while there'd be a missing block of wool in the back here, or a piece of wood that had disappeared. And I was completely surprised, had no idea what was going on. And that's when I discovered that I needed to turn fire tech off if I didn't want little bits of my house to burn while I wasn't paying attention. So the fireplace is a second level, and I used polished diorite for it, just because I thought it stood out. And downstairs, of course, it's got polished granite. Then over here was the first furnace array that I built based on Pixlriff's suggestions, with a little bit of redstone to move items up a dropper chain into the upstairs, and a little bit of more redstone to keep the minecarts from running back and forth all the time, to keep the hoppers locking when they weren't being used. Then upstairs, my daughter wanted me to make a hot tub, so I put some soul sand into the bottom of this. It's basically my infinite water source, so that whenever I need to fill buckets I can. And then of course the brewing stations and my chest full of brewing materials and whatnot. A little bit of sleeping space, my enchanting table, my anvil, and then these blocks are actually covering over some redstone that's down below from that. I added that furnace array after the fact, so it was kind of trying to make it fit in. But other than that, my early storage system, and I still have some stuff that I toss in here for junk and whatnot. And you can probably guess where these came from. I'll be showing you that in a minute. Other additions that I added, I put in a stained glass window because I sort of thought, hey, I can color glass, that's neat. And I built these because I was getting occasional spawning of stuff up here, and every once in a while there'd be a creeper that would blow the corner out of my house and I'd have to rebuild it, so it was driving me nuts. So I built sort of a chandelier, and that was before they came in with the lanterns. So I've added some lanterns after the fact. So let's run downstairs now that you've seen the inside of the house that was built pretty much on Pixlriff's design. We'll run out and we'll take a quick look. So I've got 6 beacons running. I put them in my spawn chunk. I find the double jump really useful for building. I discovered that in the process of putting a bunch of stuff together. And other than that, I just figured I'd have everything sort of handy while I'm working around here. This is a little bit of a minecart system that I've got, and I'm going to show you that really quick. Oh no, the minecart's at the bottom, isn't it? Damn it. So there should be a minecart right here. Let's see if we've got a minecart handy. Just a second. So yeah, this is my my mine, my first original mine, And I got a minecart that takes me down to the bottom. And once I get down here, damn it. Let's get out of there, because of course I need to encase this in some glass or something so I can see what's going on, keep these things from attacking me while I'm down here. Invisible spider. So yeah, so down here while I'm mining, you can see I've cleared out a lot of space, which means I've got more mobs forming down here. Not because I wanted mobs, but with the haste beacon it was pretty easy to just clear a bunch of stuff. And when I'm mining down here, I can take the stuff that I'm mining. Ghost block. And I can toss it into here. Back. Goodbye, zombie. Okay, so I toss stuff into the minecart, it comes up, and it actually goes straight into my storage system, which I thought was pretty handy. So this is the start of my storage system. And this building here, I call the Brickworks. And this was one of the first, after building, you know, this and a few other things, this is one of the first major buildings that I sort of designed all myself. Now, it's not nearly as fancy schmancy as the stuff that Pixlriff does, but I figured it was a good start. I had to replace these columns because I originally did spruce that I stripped, and it's got that icky green pukey color, so I replaced it with regular spruce. Looks much nicer now. Back here, I've got a tree farm that tree farming machine that I built. That I was working some kinks out with, testing it out. It actually worked pretty good to get me a whole bunch of oak, which was quite nice. And I'll show you some of the other stuff later, but this is where my creeper farm empties out into. This is my melon and pumpkin farm. It's so full, it's doing so well with pumpkins and melons that that I'm just totally full. I've got more pumpkins and melons than I can ever know what to do with. This is my second version of a sugarcane farm, and it fills up really quick. These are my original ones based entirely on Pixlriff designs. Now the neat thing is, this one on this side, some chickens got in there. So guess what else I have? Just a buttload of eggs. Buttloads and buttloads of eggs. Which I then turned into a chicken cooker based on Pixlriff. Right there, and of course this is where I've got my my slime farm coming out. It's the output. The output aqueduct. I'll show you that later. And this was my version of a barn, also somewhat based, inspired by Pixlriff. I kind of designed it myself, but it was inspired by Pixlriff. The back wall here is not right because we had some creeper explosions, and it's just been patched, and I haven't really redone it. One thing that I did like was I did this water trough, but the thing that drives me nuts is the cows won't get the heck out of it. They always go in the water trough, but the thing about the water trough is it hides, if I can get them the heck out of the way, underneath here, it hides the entrance down to, oh, you cows. There's a way down through here into the slime farm. So I can get down into the slime farm that way. And this is basically pretty much the Pixlriff design that I used. And it's been running pretty well. And then I set this side up so I can actually go back up, straight up the water column that brings the slime back out into the storage system, which I built the aqueduct for. So I can just get out here, right by the farm. And like I said, I've got a whole ton of slime. I've got more slime than I know what to do with. Now I just want to come back here. Oh yeah, testing out the configurations of the different terracotta blocks. So I'm coming back over here really quick. We're going to go into the Brickworks. I'll show you some stuff on the inside. So down here is my storage system. When I have coal, gold, or iron that comes in, it automatically goes down into the downstairs, and I'll show you that in a minute. I've got two input areas. I used to have a chest here, but it just has become easier to toss a couple shulkers on and just let it go. Sorts all your common stuff and whatnot. I'm thinking about taking the wood upstairs, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then, of course, down at the end, I've got hoppers in the back that run, the hopper chain runs right around, and then you've got your more precious items that I didn't want to not have to maintain 41 items in the hopper. So these are the more precious items back here, and you can see that the column continues around to this side. You can see here there's actually a dropper column from downstairs that runs up and puts stuff back up into the system on either side, and I'll show you why in a second. Oh yeah, and I remember how Pixlriff mentioned how much he doesn't like the brick, but I thought for this build, I thought it was pretty cool actually, doing sort of a Brickworks brick look. Up here, not much. Now, that being said, I've made a little dormer here to stick out. I was thinking of moving up here to put in a new storage for wood, now that I've got a source of more wood and I can do more stuff with it. So down to the basement of the Brickworks, which is why it's called the Brickworks. So down here, all the items come down, and one line runs of course it's not running. One line runs coal to the back of the furnaces and fills the furnaces with coal. The other line runs anything that comes down for the gold and iron to this side, and then this line runs from the other side for anything else that I want to send into furnaces. So if you look over here, I've got all the blast furnaces on this side to do all my gold and iron smelting, and then run around to this side, all my regular furnaces to do all my other smelting, and then a dropper line that runs right back up into the storage system that dumps into the stuff on this side. So my glass is the first thing that dumps in. Then I've also got smooth stone and whatnot, so stuff like that. And then on the other side, you've got another dropper line that runs up on this side that takes all the gold and stuff in to the system, the gold and the iron in right before it gets into where the precious metals are stored. Come back upstairs and out to the back, and that's my iron farm. Now this was based originally on an Il Mango design, but I added to it a little bit. It's much bigger than the footprint that Pixlriff used. So I modified the size of everything based on the spawning radius. I didn't make a tiny platform, I made a nice big one. And then after the fact, I added in 2 more villager cells. So the original villager cell was here in the middle, and you can see that you've got your zombie contained. So the way this works is that there's 2 daylight sensors on it. One that senses middle of the day, so that it pops the zombie's head up so they lose line of sight at the middle of the day. And then it has another daylight sensor that senses nighttime, and at nighttime it pops the zombie's head up so that they get a chance to work in the middle of the day and to sleep at night. It wasn't generating nearly enough iron for my tastes, and I wanted to get more of the iron out of it. So I built the 2 new villager stations based on the design that Pixlriff was using. And the problem is that they had to stick out 1 block, so I just put some blue ice on either side. Now the other problem I had was with this daylight sensor here, I kept getting iron golems spawning on it. So I put a little bit of blue ice on it and then put a whole bunch of carpets over top of it to try and keep those iron golems off of it. And it seems to have worked so far. I've got a whole bunch of full chests of iron out of it. For all of the builds that I used somebody else's video to give me an idea of how to put them together, or was inspired by somebody else's video, I will include a link and a description down in the description below so you can go take a look yourself. So let's quickly take a look over here at my creeper farm. Oh, speaking of creepers, this is based pretty much on Logical Geek Boy's design. So I put it underground to get the best spawn rates, and slabbed lots of stuff off and lit some stuff up and whatnot. And I seem to be getting a fairly good supply of... you can see there's lots of stuff hanging out, so there's probably a problem with the minecart somewhere. Yep, there it is, not moving. Honestly. There's probably a ton of stuff that should have been deposited it's been waiting for me to come down and fix the minecart, because the minecarts stop. I don't know why. And there it goes, emptying out. Now the thing is, Logical Geek Boy's design had a whole thing designed that it would stop. It would sense the minecart coming in, and it would switch its path and whatnot based on whether or not it was completely full. But I had a problem that every once in a while, no matter how spawn-proofed I did things, I'd get a zombie flesh in the minecart taking up one of the slots. So I just diverted the whole thing and made it so that it comes up and drops all of its stuff off every time, no matter what. Because honestly, I really could use the having access to all of that gunpowder. Actually, let's not go up this way. We'll go up this way. Probably load myself up with gunpowder in the process, but whatever. I always leave, if I've got a dropper column, I might as well use it as an exit for myself as well, right? And back up we are into the aqueduct that runs the gunpowder into the storage system. So let's see here. Toss in that extra gunpowder there. My nether portal, it was originally part of my tree fort design that I was talking about that was right about here, which I've torn down since then. And I haven't really done anything with the nether portal other than just leaving it there as a quick way in and out. I haven't decided what I want to do about it yet. Made a little AFK fishing spot and tried that for a little while. It's definitely not as good as having a trading hall. This was the first redstone thing that I built, and it was based on a video for how to make a wheat farm. Now it's not the same design anymore as the original because of the changed mechanics, and for some reason the farmer just doesn't want to plant in the back corners. It's not as efficient as it probably could be, but it works. Only thing is I have to watch when the wheat's grown and then hit the button, and when I do, it all ends up down in here. And the system's designed so that it sorts the wheat into here, but the seeds come down through a water channel down over into here, where it then sends all the seeds back up to the top for the farmer again. That's where I first learned about redstone clocks and whatnot, not knowing exactly what I was doing as I built the thing, but it was a good experience. You can see I've got that jump boost on, so it gets me up a little bit better. These are totally based on what Pixlriff did. I shamelessly stole it because I'm like, yeah, I'd like some wool, and so it works really well. And then up here I've got a little bit of extra nether wart growing because I found, oh, what are you doing here? I found that I wanted some more nether wart on hand for when I want to make those red nether wart bricks, because they're pretty handy. Now, this is the newest thing that I built, this big contraption here. And you can see, let's start off, before we do that, I want to show you up in the sky. So this was a spruce tree that I converted into a water column with a water drop on the other side. So let's go up the water column. And up top is my major mob farm. Now, this was based on a little bit on Pixlriff stuff and a little bit on another design. I liked the Pixlriff design for the way that the clock mechanism works up here. Oh, and things became so much better once I got a hold of bamboo. So the clock mechanism is the whole Pixlriff design, where it goes back and forth with the hopper clock and whatnot, and it turns on the 2 floors of water that washes the drops down, or the not the drops, but the animals, the mobs down. And then if we go back up here, so originally everything was up higher and I was swiping at it with a looting sword, and then I realized, you know what, I don't really need to get XP out of it anymore because I've got another place for XP. So I just let them drop and catch the drops, and then everything that comes out of it gets item sorted down here. And I can just go down and grab what I want. Now, it's not as efficient anymore for some stuff, but every once in a while I can still come up here and AFK for a bit of bone meal and some zombie flesh, some rotten flesh. I've got an overflow chest here, and when I don't want anything that's in there, I just switch this on and it just throws it through a dropper straight into, there's some lava back in here. So it's a little garbage disposal that I built back in the day. There have been some creeper explosions, but now I've not fixed that because now I've got the elytra and I can just swing around and go wherever the heck I want. But yeah, that was originally based on, you can see it was originally a tree, and I just carried it on up into the sky. Now, here's the newest thing that I built. This is the exchange. And it is this neat design that I found for a trading hall where you've got a breeder up here. This is my little staircase to get up that I just built today, actually. So I've got a breeding system up here. Go up one higher. Oh, what are you doing in here? Go away. I apparently need more light up here. So I've got some villagers stuck in here that can't get to their beds, so I don't get a ton of iron golems spawning all over the place. And there's a villager missing from that cell. There should be a villager in that cell. Somehow he moved over. That makes no sense. I don't know how he got over, but basically these villagers toss them some food, and let's go back up again instead of jumping off. Silly. When they spawn stuff, when they spawn babies, they drop through here. So there's just enough space for the babies to drop through here, and they can grow up in here, and then I can wash them out with water down into an area down here where they end up into a water stream. That runs them down into the cells here. And so once they get into the cell, if I hit the note block, they drop into lava and die. If I hit the button, they drop down into a water stream that carries them down over to a zombie that's down in here, and they get zombified, and then I can heal them and then send them back up again once they're healed. So you can see that I haven't given them all professions yet. I've still got some blank ones that I haven't dealt with yet. But if you look at them, if I look at anyone that I'm trading with and I've got them started, and I'm like, right now, this guy's been zombified and I've fixed him because I've got really good trades with him. But if I've got anybody that I make a new villager for something, I can send them down to the zombie. It's down here. So there's the zombie, and the zombie zombifies them. They drop down to the water column, and the thing is, villagers float, but zombified villagers sink. And so the zombified villagers come over into here, and they sit in here, and they just wander back and forth growling at you. Toss in a weakness potion and use golden apples, and you can get actually multiple villagers down in here. And use one weakness potion on all of them, and then give them all golden apples and wait a little bit. When they heal up, they start to swim to the surface again, and then they come back along this water stream. All the way back to here, where they swim all the way back up to the top. And I don't think I can actually get out of here this way anymore, but I left that there from when I was building things down here, and I haven't taken it away. Also, when I was first setting up the villager trading system, I hadn't dealt with them accessing beds yet, so they made some golems, and I just let them roam around down here to keep the place clean. Now, the original design that I saw only did, I think, about 8 cells, and then it ended. And I made the modifications that allowed me to continue it all the way on over to here. And then once I finished that, I built the outside building around it and designed the roof over top of it. And you can see I've just finished building it, so I haven't put away all my supplies yet. Hey, kitty. So I added some nice windows, and I used this design actually. I designed it all myself, and I used a lot of inspiration from stuff that I've seen Pixlriffs do. So added the fence posts to give me little dangling lights to give the little bit more ambience and a little bit more more lighting in here that was needed. And I added these cross beams to give it sort of that rustic roof look. And then you can see there's the other side of the tree with the water drop when I used to come back down the old-fashioned way rather than having a elytra to fly down. So you can see the outside. Apparently I've got cats on the roof. Yeah, so that's my trading hall, my exchange. Let's see if we can get up. Take it away a little bit so we can see how the roof turned out. I have to finish putting lights on it. I was sort of considering using these end rods on anywhere that we might have spawnable space just to give it enough light so we don't get spawns up here. Yeah, you can see I'm pretty pleased with the way the roof worked out after everything was said and done. And totally inspired by stuff that I've seen Pixlriffs do before. But this one was really freehand myself. I came up with this. Pretty pleased by it and thought that I'd show it off. So my Nether hub has a little bit of Pixlriff's suggestions in the work. So I've made sort of a road with non-native brick, the cobblestone and whatnot, to get me back and forth. And I've been thinking about bringing some of that blue ice down and making a little bit of a road of ice to get me to places a little bit quicker. But it's not nearly the Nether hub with the giant compass rose that Pixlriffs has done, because I mean that thing's phenomenal. If I could just take one thing out of Pixlriff's world and just plop it straight on in, it would be his finished compass rose once all the dioramas are done. That thing's awesome. So over here, entirely based on Pixlriff's design, which I believe he based on another design that worked really well, for me anyways, is where I built my wither farm. So pretty straightforward, pretty much exactly the same as what you can find online. It's not super efficient, but it was enough that I was able to get like 7 beacons out of it. And my mob spawning was basically dumping tons and tons of lava all over the place. I did break a lot of blocks in the area, but also lots and lots of lava and light sources. Oh, and there's a blaze. Oh, there's a blaze rod there and I can't get it. Oh well. So this is part of my road in the Nether. It's so weird, I feel like I'm moving so slowly seeing as I don't have the boost on from the beacon back at my farm. But yeah, the road to everywhere leads actually through this nether fortress. That's one of the portals to one of my first villages, actually. But if I go down this way, hey Pigman, we get down to the portal that leads to my stronghold. Which leads straight into my stronghold and straight to the end. Oh yeah, I had to turn off the auto jump that I used to use, because when you've got the jump boost, it makes it's really a pain in the butt. You keep going up. Auto jumping is just a pain. So this is my ender that I built based on stuff that Pixlriff showed and the original video. But I made a modification. I was having problems, or I was pretty sure I was going to have problems with lag. So you can see here my modification is the platform has lights, and I designed it so that it's got the power on all the time unless you turn it off. If you come this way, you see that the redstone runs back through, and in order to keep the Enderman off, it's got the nice little bit of carpet there that keeps the Enderman off. And then I had to replace these parts of the stairs with cobblestone because I was finding my sweeping edge sword was actually cutting the leaves that were here that were being used as the stairs. But yeah, this is where they come down to die. I bet you if I went through here, I could probably, yep, creep right through here. So this is where I keep my Enderbane sword. And the reason I use a different sword is because this one doesn't have looting on it. So I don't have nearly as much problems with all of the, where did it go? Uh-oh, where did you go now? In here. Okay, so I use the Enderbane sword because, as you can see, it's got sweeping edge, and it's got sharpness, and it's got mending, but it does not have looting. So turn this on. I get a nice little light on here so I can see that it's on, and the Endermen start coming through. They're turned off again. They'll stop spawning on the platform, and I can just kill these ones. Now, I haven't done anything additional with the storage because, honestly, I get so many ender pearls out of this that it's like, why would I even bother? So make sure to put the Enderbane back when I'm done with it, switch back to my main sword, and then fly away home. Obviously, I don't have the Ender Hub that Pixlriff has done because that was nuts. I think it looks phenomenal. It's gorgeous. I don't think I'm ever going to do that much work. But yeah, brings me right back to where I fell asleep, which is great. So right back here. I love the way the iron bars worked out as a railing for this thing, for my little spiral staircase. I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I really could show you about this, but that's what I've been doing based on all the stuff that I've learned watching stuff that Pixlriff has done. And you can see that my style and the stuff that I've worked on has progressed as I've gone along, and I've gotten better at design and whatnot. And that's since April of this year. So, anyways, thanks very much to Pixlriff and all the other Minecrafters who've put their stuff online that has made it really easy to follow along and do something neat. And as Pixlriff says, bye for now.